I was about 4 or 5 years old and my parents had just separated. My mom was living in a 2-bedroom apartment. I had my own room, but I preferred to sleep in her bed whenever I was staying with her. Our 2 bedrooms were at the end of the hallway, directly across from each other. Our apartment was on the first floor, and I remember that it was in the middle of the summer, and my mom had a window open in her room, which was directly behind the bed, above the headboard. Anyways, I woke up in the middle of the night and remember sitting up and seeing that our cat was sitting in the door frame of my mom's room. Her door was open and you could partially see into my bedroom. This was strange because our cat was typically always in bed with us. As I was watching him, he walked into my bedroom and meowed. I turned to face my mom and wake her up. In the 3-4 seconds it took to wake her up and asked me what was wrong, we both looked back up in the door frame and there was a man standing by my open door, making his way out of my bedroom. I still don't know how he managed to do it so quickly, but my mother proceeded to pick me up and literally throw me out of the screen window. Again, we were on the first floor, and it was maybe a 3-foot drop to the ground. She quickly followed and we were able to start screaming for help and someone called 911. The police came, but didn't see any signs of forced entry, only that our front door was unlocked, which led them to believe that a man must have exited that way. The strange thing was that my mom swore up and down that she had locked the door that night with the deadbolt and chain lock. About a week later, she was cleaning the kitchen and opened up our water heater closet and found a notebook with names and drawings, as well as a pair of gloves and some gum wrappers. The police were called again, but all they could do was speculate that the man had been in our house and hid until we were asleep. Yeesh, that's a rough one, but I think the only explanation really is that maybe there was a guy already living inside your house. I don't remember what you call it, like squatters or something. But maybe there's another term for that, guy who's secretly living in your house. I think about that sometimes. That shit's scary. Cause I never even go in my attic. There could be another guy in there and I would have no idea. But I just want to clarify so everybody knows, these are scary stories from Reddit. If you have any scary stories that you want me to read, or just for my entertainment, I would appreciate it. You could send it to the email that's going to be in the description, thecheesybugs@gmail. So that would be awesome. I would totally read your stories. But anyways, here's the next one. A terrifying but true story I experienced when I was 12. I moved to my dad's when I was 10 and didn't know anyone in the area except for the family my dad was friends with. Single mom with 3 kids. Luckily, there was a girl a couple years older than me, 12 at the time I met her, and we got to know each other a little over a couple of years. We weren't close, but ended up having the same friends. One night, my friend Rob was hanging out with her and her younger brother. They happened to be in the house alone because my friend's mom was at work, which is where this gets terrifying and sad. Her mother has been helping this one lady through her work and got to know her fairly well. She found out her sister was in a mental institution and was let out recently. The night Rob is hanging out with my friend, they get a knock on the door. My friend thought it was just their mom. She knocks a certain way when coming in and answered it without thinking. Rob wasn't supposed to be there and he took off through the window to his house down the road. He never thought twice about it. It wasn't her mom. It was the sister of the lady her mom was helping, and she figured out through talking to her sister where her family lived and her mom's working schedule. She came in. This is where I don't know details, and I'm glad I don't. My friend's younger brother got away to the neighbors to call the police. The lady brutally murdered my friend a week before Christmas, decapitated her, and left her body naked in a bathtub, hid her head. They had to look through the presents, and I don't know where they found it, but they did. I wasn't allowed to go to her funeral. This is crazy. This is crazy to an extent where I'm like, is this really real? I mean, I'm just gonna choose to believe it because, why not? Alright, and sorry if you're watching. I mean, you're listening to the gameplay anyways, but sorry, I'm fighting like so many monsters right now, but I've been in this place so many... Wait, but low-key? Pretty sure there's a diamond. Bro, I gotta turn on my brightness. I've been here so many times, but I've never seen this before. Anyways, I'm gonna go get my fortune diamond pickaxe, and then I'm gonna come back here, but we'll go ahead and move on to the next story. Alrighty. This is the late 80s, early 90s. I was around 6, 7 years old. I'm at home with my sister, who was 14, 15 at the time. I grew up in a small Texas town. Everyone knows everybody. We were home alone this particular night, and my folks let my sister babysit me frequently. We always get along due to our age gap. Anyway, it is about 8 p.m. in the winter. Deserts get pretty damn cold. So it is dark, and we are in the common room since that is where the TV was. Watching 60 Minutes or 48 Hours or Hard Copy or some shit. Those 1-hour news pieces on CBS that chronicle large crimes in depth, trafficking, murders, kidnappings, and the like. Basically a gritty Lifetime special. This one was a typical story. Guy next door that was quiet went on a rampage in his next door neighbor's house, mutilating them and kidnapping their young daughter. Well, the thing about our house common room is the door leading to the backyard was a large glass door on a wall of floor-to-ceiling windows. Nothing but blackness beyond it unless you have the backlight on. We did not. The front door is on the other side of the room with a small entryway. This is a solid door, so you cannot see what is beyond it, with a glass storm door on the outside of it. About 45 minutes into the show, they're talking about the ongoing manhunt for the crazy guy, and bam, bam, bam! Front door bangs like crazy. We jump the fuck up and scream like banshees. Dead silence now. The only lights on in the house are the kitchen down the hall from the common room we were in and the light from the TV. We start thinking something on the porch. We had some planters and a rocking chair out there had simply blown against the door. This was West Texas, crazy strong winds out that way. Well, a minute or two of silence and us holding each other post-adrenaline overdose passes. Just when we're about to declare everything is safe, we hear the storm door on the outside of our front door close. Fuck. Someone had to have opened that door to be able to bang on the front door like that. Shit, shit, shit. We're both frozen in the middle of the room on the floor where we had been watching TV. My sister crawls over to the TV and turns it off. It was an old TV, so you had to turn that metal dial to switch it off, which does with a mildly loud thunk. Now it is just us in a room dimly lit by the kitchen light down the hall. I do not remember how much time passed with my frozen and my sister still crouched by the now off TV, but we kept making eye contact, then looking at the front door. I remember this part vividly. I'm on my knees, sitting on my feet, and I turn around to look at the back wall of windows and glass door. We hear, and I see, the back door knob turn. It was locked on the knob but not deadbolted. It rattles slightly, as if someone is gently trying to handle. Neither of us make a sound, just held breath. Then bam, 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 loud as all hell. Someone is trying to force the door open, just jerking it back and forth. The whole wall of windows is vibrating violently, and I can see with each jerk of the door how my slight reflection gets fuzzy, then clear, then fuzzy again. My sister flips her shit and screams bloody murder. I'm still frozen on the floor. She gets up and basically drags me into her bedroom, slams the door, throws her mattress and anything she can in front of the door. Thankfully, she had remembered the phone, one of those ungodly heavy beige plastic long metal antenna portable phones. We still had to direct dial the sheriff there, and in her panic didn't remember the number. She just said redial on the phone. It was one of her friends, and she tells them in broken gasps that someone's trying to get into our house and needs to get there right fucking now. The profanity sticks out here more than anything else. Who knows? Young brain. I'm curled up on the floor and cannot stop shaking. We don't hear anything else until we see the headlights of my sister's friend and her parents driving up to the house. We never did find out who was at the door, or why. There were no signs of anything happening but a couple of scuff marks on the bottom of the back door that we could not remember if they were there beforehand or not. Nothing like that has happened to me or her since, but for damn sure we never forgot to lock a door after that. Probably not gonna watch true crime stories on TV when it's that late at night anymore. Anyways, here's the next one. I've told this story before in another thread, but it fits here. My mother-in-law was a very funny and cool woman. She and my wife were really close, and sadly, she passed away when our son was about 4 months old. Flash forward a few years. We live in an old 1930s era craftsman house in Pasadena, California. Our son is about 3 at the time. I was giving him a bath one night and he starts looking over my shoulder. Not at random stuff, but at something. A moment passes and he asks me why Grandma calls Mommy a funny name. Long pause. I asked him what he meant, thinking he was talking about my mom. He then says, "Why does Grandma call Mommy?" And it's just blank. My mother-in-law's nickname for my wife. I was really set back by this. My wife and I never used the nickname. It was just what her mom called her since she was a baby. I asked him where he heard that. His reply, "The farmer told me." I asked him who the farmer was, and he replied, "His friend." I told my wife this story later, and she's of course reduced to tears over the whole nickname thing. We both know there's no way for him to know this, and we just kind of marvel at it. Flash forward to the next weekend, and my son is playing in his room. My wife is at work, retail, and I'm home. I worked Monday to Friday. I hear him start talking like he's having a conversation. He's saying things like, "Yes, no, I don't know that." Then some laughing. I go into his room and ask him what he's doing, and he says playing. I ask with who. He says, "The farmer." At this point, I'm already thinking about the fucking Exorcist movie and Captain Howdy. It's a little unsettling. I ask him where the farmer is. He says he left when I came in. The fuck? So my wife gets home, and I tell her this. Now she's just as weirded out as I am. We have no idea what to do and figure it's happening again. We'll do something. A few days later, in the middle of the night, we both hear our son saying the following: "Grandma says you and I can't be friends anymore." Wife and I go check on him. Both of us a little freaked. He's just sitting up in bed. I ask if he's okay, and he says yeah. "Grandma says I can't play with the farmer anymore." He never once mentioned the farmer again. Not ever. He's 13 now and doesn't remember any of it. We do, though. Bro, for real, yeah, this it's like The Exorcist, or I'm thinking of Pet Sematary. But yeah, I don't know what it is with kids always being able to sense spirits and things like that and talk to them. I don't know if it's just imagination, but I don't know. I kind of do believe that, like, maybe children do have some sort of access to another realm, or maybe spirits always show themselves to children. I feel like in stories like this, it always happens like that, you know? Alright, I'll do another quick one. My grandmother lives in a very old house, late 1700s. We're just surrounded by graveyards on both sides. That's not a good sign. The other day, my friend, who I hadn't seen for months, arrives at my house. We're walking along the old cobblestone driveway when he begins talking about his newfound spirituality, not in a religious context, but in regards to feeling tuned in to things. I believed him. Side note, I'm sorry if the creeper sound scared the shit out of you, but I'm just trying to get gunpowder so I can make more fireworks. But back to the story. He had been away at a drug treatment program, and I believed that he had experienced some kind of cerebral spiritual awakening. Anyways, as we were talking, my cat walks over to us and starts rubbing against my leg. After a while, I realize she won't quit and that she's trying to tell me something. I start to follow her, and soon I realize she's going to the graveyard. Every time I stop following her, she turns around and rubs my leg until I begin walking again. When we finally get to the graveyard, she jumps on a gravestone, balancing on the slender part of the gravestone, and will not move. She begins hissing when we try to take her off the headstone. We realize that the grave was someone who had lived and died in our house. My friend took this picture of the cat on the gravestone. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. I'll put a picture in if you're watching it. I'll put the picture in the video right now. Dude, I just mentioned Pet Sematary. This is almost exactly what happens in Pet Sematary, dude. Yeah, I don't know, maybe your cat is possessed by some sort of evil spirit. So that's true. Anyways, I'm gonna end it right there. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what you liked about this video and what you didn't like. I have like no subscribers, so I'm able to interact with all of you guys. And also, if you have a story that you want me to read, send it to the email, the Cheesy Bugs email, and it'll be in the description and probably in my bio. But yeah, if you want to do that, that'd be cool, just for my entertainment and maybe yours. So thanks for watching. I'm gonna go now. Goodbye.